The architecture of separation, reclaiming humanity from the tyranny of story. For millennia, we have celebrated culture as the crown jewel of the human experience. We point to our cathedrals, our constitutions, and our complex mythologies as proof of our elevation above the beasts. But if we look closer, a chilling possibility emerges. Culture is not just the software that runs our lives. It is a cage that limits our potential. By clinging to the stories of our ancestors, we have traded our universal biological kinship for a set of artificial, often violent scripts. To find our true humanity, we must have the skepticism to question the narratives that define us and the courage to stand naked before one another. At our core, the human hardware is remarkably consistent. Biologically, any two humans on Earth share approximately 99.9% of their DNA. Our nervous systems process pain, joy, and fear through the exact same chemical pathways. Whether in a high-rise in Tokyo or a village in the Andes, a mother's oxytocin spikes when she holds her child. A survivor's cortisol surges in the face of a threat. Culture, however, takes this universal canvas and paints over it with essential differences. It tells us that our 0.1% genetic variation, manifested in skin tone or eye shape, is a boundary line. It takes the universal human longing and gives it a specific name, a specific God, and a specific set of enemies. By the time we are adults, we are so draped in the costume of our culture that we mistake the fabric for our own skin. We forget that underneath the priest's robes, the soldier's uniform, and the partisan's flag, there is the same shivering, vulnerable human. Social psychology teaches us that humans are hardwired for tribalism, but culture provides the targets. We suffer from an in-group, out-group bias, a psychological shortcut that makes us favor those like us. However, who is like us is entirely a cultural fiction. We are told stories of the nation, the faith, or the tradition. These are not biological realities. They are intersubjective myths. We fight wars not over resources, but over definitions. We kill one another because one story says a piece of land is holy, and another story says it is ancestral. If we could strip away these narratives, we would see that the enemy is simply another version of ourselves, also trapped in a different script. Our stories don't just explain our differences, they create them. If we accept the philosophical truth that existence precedes essence, then we realize we are born as nothingness, a state of radical, terrifying freedom. Culture is the society's attempt to fill that void before we can decide for ourselves. It gives us a pre-packaged identity so we don't have to face the overwhelming weight of being alive. But this comfort comes at a price, the loss of empathy. When we view the world through the lens of a specific culture, we stop seeing people and start seeing symbols. A person is no longer a fellow being in the world. They are a capitalist, a sinner, or an outsider. To reclaim our humanity, we must engage in what we might call cultural skepticism. We must ask of every belief, does this story help me see the other person? Or does it act as a shield to protect me from them? The path to human unity is not found in creating a better story or a more inclusive myth. It is found in the humility of the void. It is the recognition that we are all the unfinished animal, perpetually searching for meaning in a silent universe. If we can find the courage to admit that our cultures are just survival strategies, not absolute truths, we can finally look at a stranger and see a mirror rather than a mystery. We are more alike than we are different because our humanity isn't found in what we believe, but in the fact that we are all capable of believing. If we can let go of the stories that tell us who we should be, we might finally discover who we actually are. A single social species bound by the same DNA and the same fragile hope for connection.